Hello, today we are here with Harry Reiner, who is a local musician here in the Twin Cities, and he's one of my favorite people here in the Twin Cities because, because Harry has a life to him, and when he picks up his horn, you really know that he's playing it, and he puts a lot of life into his horn. So it's good to see you, Harry.
Oh, good to see you again, Jason.
Yeah. So I guess I'd just like to ask you some questions and share with our viewers on the internet and on our website, a little bit about you and of course the history of your playing career and what you're doing now.
All right.
So I guess the first question is, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from New Ulm, Minnesota.
Oh.
New Ulm, Minnesota. It's at one time there were 29 bands that booked out of New Ulm.
Wow.
29. They were all old-time bands. And that was in 1945.
Wow.
1945. There's probably one left. But that's where I started. I got weaned in old time. Never read it very well, but I heard the song so many times as I was growing up that when I started playing when I was a senior in high school, I started jobbing, and that even though I couldn't read very well, I knew the songs.
Sure. Well, if you know the song, then what's the difference, right?
Like when I started playing in the 6th grade, I think I got 4 lessons along with the horn.
Oh,
I
nice.
think the horn was $7.50 or $9.50, something like that. $7.50.
Sure.
Something like
That's
that.
a good deal.
In the 6th grade, and the music instructor always asked my dad, how's Harold doing? I was known as Harold.
Sure.
Is he playing okay? He said he plays good, but he never plays what's written. So my improv started very early.
Well, that's not so bad. I mean, most people look at it the other way. They have to learn improv, but if you just are listening from the beginning, then you have it.
Yeah, it was something that was given to me by somebody else, and it just comes that way, But then I played in a high school band, and then after high school, in the early part of '46, I enlisted in the service in the Navy, and had my boot training in San Diego, and I scheduled an audition to get into the Navy band at the Navy base in San Diego. But there were some complications, and before you knew it, I was aboard an AK attack cargo ship on my way to Guam.
Wow.
That took care of the audition. And then I never played for a little over 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Never played. No, never played.
So how long were you enlisted?
I was in 2.5 years
Okay.
in the Navy, from early part of '46 to about July of '48.
Okay.
48. And
Well, it's not the worst time to be in the Navy. You just missed everything.
oh, I was just on the tail end of World War II.
Yeah.
The war was officially declared over in August of '46. And the reasons I joined the Navy at that time was that as long as you joined before the finalization of World War II, I got all the GI Bill.
Nice.
And that's how I was able to go to school.
Sure. Well, that's great.
And so I've been playing all my life, with the exception of those 2.5 years. And then I didn't play for 10 years, from 1982 to 1992, for 10 years, because I was terminated from my job, and I got another job, and I became a workaholic.
Oh.
And I put the horn away and had to make money.
Right. Well, that happens to all of us eventually.
No door closes, but another one opens.
Yeah. Sometimes many open.
But since then, I've been playing regularly, and I do a few gigs around the Twin Cities. Not a lot, because nobody wants to hire a guy that's 85 going on 86.
Maybe they don't hire you because you play better than them.
No, but I play a lot. But I go to Florida for 4 months, from January 1st to April 30th, and I play a lot down there. Play a lot down there. Yeah.
So that's your fun time to go down there?
That's my fun time. So I enjoy playing. I play every day.
Well, it's obvious. I mean, when I hear you come in and play, It's amazing to me that, you know, you stay in such great shape.
Yeah, it's now 10 to 10, and I put in 30 minutes this morning.
Plus you just played another 15 years.
Something like that. I do about hour and a half, 2 hours every day. Just learning new improv, finding my way around, anticipating the notes and going from one note to another,
Right.
making it different if I can, you know. And so, and I'm trying to build range,
Sure.
and the more I practice, and you've been drilling out my mouthpieces, and the bigger the hole, the more I like it now. Maybe,
That seems every time you come in, you have me open your mouthpiece one more size.
one more size, you know. Well, let me see, when I started buying these mouthpieces, I play on a Parduba double cup.
Right.
And I think the shelf drill bit is like a 28. 28. And the last one you drilled for me was a 25 and a 24.
Right.
And today I'm going to ask you to maybe drill a little bigger, so see what happens.
You know, there are other players that do that same thing, and one of them is Arturo Sandoval. When he goes to different trumpet shops, including here, he asks to have his mouthpiece opened up again and again too. And he says that that there was another trumpet player that would do that on his birthday every year. It was, I'm trying to remember exactly who he said would do that. Was it Maurice Andre, I think? Would every year on his birthday open his mouthpiece up one more size. And he started doing it, I think, when he was older, but then he ended up on like size 1.
Size 1.
Yeah, so.
So I suppose if you, I'm not that familiar with drill business, that was probably what you want to talk about, but I suppose like a 23 drill bit is like a 3, maybe?
Well, a 23 drill bit is, I think, somewhere around 144 inches. So yeah, and the number 1 is closer to like 240. Yeah, so it's.
Well, I listen to our Sandoval all the time. I mean, I got the CD in the car, and of course, you almost shouldn't listen, but you have to be.
You know, actually, you remind me of Arturo because, you know, there are players out there that pick up the horn and they play what they've learned and what they've heard, and you listen to it and you think, that sounds nice. But when you pick up the horn and when Arturo picks up the horn, you hear like a vibrancy and life and energy go into it and come out into the room. It's on a different level, you know, and that's one of the things that everybody here, when you come in and play, everybody loves it. It's like you put everybody in a good mood the whole day. So I appreciate that.
Well, I think I projected my, I don't know, my horn personality into the tune, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can do a lot with my lip, you know, I can move it around a little bit, you know. And if I'm on a tune, I can play into it. The other day I played, a couple weeks ago, I'll just share this, I played at a church. My sister-in-law died, and I wanted to play with the choir, and she didn't let me. Because she said, we don't know what you can do, and you haven't practiced with the organ player. So that was it. I never got to play. Although I did. I did play, the family wanted me to play Ave Maria as they brought the body down the aisle of the church. And I mentioned to the priest what I'm going to do. He said, you're going to do what? You're going to play just a solo? I said, yes. Well, if I'd known about that, I would have never permitted it. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Well, anyway. But I did the easy Ave Maria. It's one written by Gonet.
Of course.
Yeah, and I did that one.
Yeah, that's a great version. I love that one. I have a similar story when you're speaking of funerals, where my grandmother died years ago, and I went down to Arkansas to play her funeral, and the family asked me to play, and they had 2 organists, and the way that church worked, it was a Baptist church, they would have 2 organs kind of playing off of each other, and then the choir would sing sometimes in halves, and it would be a lot of call and response. And it was the exact opposite, actually, what you just described. They said, oh, trumpet, we love horns. Come on up and play. There was no music. and they just asked me to play whatever I wanted, and they would follow along. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for you, but sometimes it does, right?
Well, I did it a cappella. I had no,
Yeah.
I did it
Oh, yeah.
myself.
Well, and I'm sure it sounded great that way.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about funerals. I play a lot of military funerals. I've done as high as 120 a year
Wow.
in 8 months. It's slowing down a little bit now because we're catching up with the World War II veterans. So I do about 80 a year, something like that, about 80.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I always sing, because I play a lot at the funeral. I play a song when they bring the body to the gravesite, and then I play the military song that he was in, and then I play taps, and then I play retirement of the flag, and then I play a song, whatever the family wants at the end.
Right.
So I play 5 different things, and I say they think they're coming to a funeral, but they end up with a concert.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't see any reason why a funeral couldn't be some kind of celebration. And that's how they do it in New Orleans. You know, they have a second line parade, and you know they celebrate afterwards because you know you have to have good memories too.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago I played for a black funeral, and about 250 people came to the gravesite, and they asked me if I could jazz it up a little bit. And so the last song I played, Battle Hymn of the Republic,
Oh, nice.
and I kicked it up quite a bit.
Yeah, did they enjoy that?
Oh yeah, they were swaying. They were swaying.
Yeah, you know, it's too bad they can't all be like that.
Yeah, well, it's rules and regulations, and
Yeah,
depending upon the church too.
of course.
Depending upon the church. Some churches are pretty rigid.
Well, I know.
Authority over love.
Right.
But I enjoy my summit,
Yeah.
and then I have another trumpet I play, and I go to Florida with 2 trumpets and a flugel, just in case something happens to one of them, you know.
Well, and I think things have happened. Because I remember.
Oh
Yeah, I remember your first horn was a bravura, right?
And somebody kicked it over.
Yeah, somebody knocked it over, and then we had to fix it, or
Yeah, well, I
traded it for the.
traded it for something else. Yeah. No, but I just you built another trumpet here, fashioned after a cornet almost, and plays real nice. Really does, you know.
Yeah.
It's in fact it sounds more compressed for some reason or other to me.
Yeah, you know, that horn was designed, we're speaking of one of the prototypes I just finished. That has a shepherd's crook and that little pigtail. It was designed so that the inside of the horn is a little smaller than normal. So it'll feel a little more like a cornet. And the sound will be closer to your ears. So that was really the idea behind designing that horn. It's a little smaller, more compact, and then the sound is closer to you. So it's, you know, it can still project, obviously,
Oh, yes.
but it's good for real small situations and small rooms.
Yeah. Well, I think if you have it and you keep it up, it's like, I analogize it to going to the gym. Once you start going to the gym, it all goes kaput. And I think the same thing with your lip. As you get older, the muscles up here, I mean, you have to keep working at it. Otherwise, it's going to go kaput.
And you know, I have to say, you know, throughout my life, that's been the truth. I can usually take maybe a full month off and not have any effect. But if I do longer than that, then I really have to work, you know, to get it back. And I know people that can't go a whole day, you know, they can't take a whole day off. But it's different for everybody. But the truth is, I mean, we all have to stay in shape.
Well, yeah, the maximum for me is 2-3 days. That's about it.
Sure.
And then if I come back, it's starting with low notes and scales and things like that, you know. That I can read.
Well, I just moved the shop, another shop, down to Denver, as you saw. So we're still here in New Brighton, but we have another shop now in Denver. And I took an entire month off. And then I just played, what was it? It was, must have been yesterday. And for the first time, and I thought, wow, this feels completely different, you know? But now today it feels normal again.
It does, huh?
Yeah, it's, you know, to take a whole month off is a long time.
Yeah.
And it did feel foreign to me yesterday, so I think we all have that no matter what kind of shape you're in. But you're in such good shape, I would guess you could go a whole week without playing. maybe you just never do.
Well, I find that if I'm off for a while, when I come back, I have to come back kind of gingerly. Don't go full bore right away. Just go easy and just play a little bit, and then have a cup of coffee and come back and hit a little bit harder and go through a process like that, and then it comes back better.
So when you practice on your own, do you do that? Do you take breaks and then come back every couple
Oh
hours?
yes, a lot.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to do it.
Oh yeah, I might play for 15, 20 minutes and go upstairs and read a little bit and come back down again. And like my wife says, doesn't that thing ever stop? Yeah, the funny thing about it, the other night, Halloween, tricks or treats. The lady came to the door. Oh, we hear you practice.
All the time, right?
And I'm in the basement.
Oh yeah.
I'm in the basement, and I do that differently too. I either do like you suggested one time. I'll play against a corner, or I'll play against the door, or I'll play in an area that's completely padded and carpeting to have it all get sucked up, so to speak. You know,
Sure.
I don't get the feedback. You know, and then I go back to the door or the corner. You know, makes a big difference. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I know people who have essentially hurt themselves and like hurt their embouchure from playing in rooms that are so dead, and the sound gets soaked up so much that they overblow the whole time until they hurt themselves.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was always hoping all my life when I played that I could develop a callus like Louis Armstrong, and I just can't get that callus. Like I lay the mouthpiece on it and go forever. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, there's always that theory that it could happen, but it's never happened to me either. You know?
Never.
I've never had that callus. A lot of people don't even realize I play trumpet because I don't get much of a mark, you know.
Because
So.
you play lower.
But I think it's because I just use very little pressure.
Yeah.
So when you use very little pressure, then it doesn't leave a real deep indent.
See, I might get some dead skin right over here once in a while, because I'm leaning over more to the stronger part of my lip, which is over here, and so then I get more pressure on the left side here,
Sure.
and then I might get a little ridge there. Once in a while, I'll pull off some dead skin.
Piece of skin. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to use a lot of pressure, and that would happen all the time. My teeth would actually press on the inside of my lips and make them bleed sometimes, and eventually I had to just like take days off at a time. But layers of skin would just peel off sometimes. Did you ever have any embouchure problems?
Oh yeah, sometimes I said, what in the devil is wrong? Am I putting it up there wrong? Am I spending too much time, you know, in the wrong place? That happened a couple of weeks ago. I went through about 50 songs, one after another. Played a large part of the song, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, I could get up there, but, you know, I really had to work at it, you know.
Right.
And then I realized maybe I had it in the wrong place for a long time.
Sure.
I was trying to go through a concert program, one song after another, one song after another. But it's okay now. I'm having a little luck right now.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Well, you got to work at it. There's no question about it, you know.
Well, you came in today with a new piece that you wrote, which sounded pretty cool. Do you write often?
No.
No?
It's a funny thing. My best friend since 1953, and I've been playing down there since '53, and nobody's brought anything to the table ever as far as new music or anything like that. Finally, with the help of some people that know how to do this, that have a program, I was able to put this down in print.
Right.
And I called my good friend. I said, I'm sending you a copy. And then he called me back. He said, well, I hope you take this in good faith. He said, you didn't say anything good about it at all. He said, well, you got it in C all the way. You got it in C all the way. I said, yes. He said, well, I think you'd be better off if you played the A part in G and then come back and go up to C.
Sure.
And I said, okay. He said, that'll be easier for the guys. I said, easier? I mean, they're going to have all kinds of problems in 3 sharps. And some of those guys. It's like some of those guys that come from the East Coast, they're so-so. And I always analogize it to a court case. The banjo, for instance, to a court case, it's best when the case is closed.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sometimes it is.
Yeah, well, you know, and then, well, I tell the guys, you know, when in doubt, stay out. Just put the mouthpiece up to your mouth and pretend you're playing.
Well, that's better than people playing wrong notes or wrong rhythms.
Yeah.
Of course, if they're in doubt all the time, then they're just standing there.
Well, yeah, there's some that aren't so good, you know, but that's like anything else. And then, of course, other people take the approach, what the heck, these people are old, they want to play, let them play, you know, so.
Well, you know, I think everybody would love to hear you play because every time I've heard you, it's inspiring, you know, so.
Well,
I
thank you very much.
I was actually considering, and Jen and I were talking about this, of maybe sometime, maybe in the spring, since I know you're going to be going to Florida soon, we could host you at Jazz Central. We can talk to those guys. Do you know about Jazz Central? It's basically a non-profit jazz club that's in the basement of a place down in northeast Minneapolis. So, if you'd be interested, you know, we'd love to have
yes,
you
I'd love to.
put a set together, and you know, it could just be anything you want to play, so everybody could hear you. Because you know, of all the people I talked to in the Twin Cities, when I mentioned your name, they're like, "Yeah, I heard that guy. He was amazing."
You did?
Yeah, I hear that again and again, and I think that you know, the truth is, a lot of people like to hear you play, and you don't even know it. So, and you play. Yeah, I mean, I know you play a lot, but people like to hear you play the tunes that are your favorites. You know.
Yeah, but I don't get very many gigs anymore, and you get sometimes tired playing in the basement. But now down in Florida, it's different. You know, when you're a boss, that helps.
Oh, yeah.
That helps. So, but we'll see what happens down there. But I do have some good players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't have big bands.
Sure. Yeah, you just have combos.
I just have 7, sometimes 8, and then I play in some bands where there are 21.
Oh, nice.
21 musicians without charts.
Nice.
What a freight train.
Yeah. Does that work out?
Well, the reeds can't play harmony, so they all play the same note. Of the brass, of the 4 trumpet players, one guy can play harmony, and the other 2 are limited, you know.
Sure.
There are some good rhythm guys, a good piano man.
Nice.
A very good piano man, yeah. Doesn't read well, but you know, it's good. And the bass man is very good. The bass man, he plays sometimes off the fingers of the piano man.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, you must play piano then.
Yeah, he's very good. So we just got most of the time I got 2 in front and I got 4 in back, and then leave it go with that, you know.
Yeah, if it works.
Yeah, well, I see that nobody gets in each other's way.
Right.
That's
Well, you just recorded something recently, earlier this summer.
Oh yes, I did. Oh, I forgot to bring that. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We did some things like Moat and Swing, Just Friends, Laura. Yeah, so nice stuff. The piano player is from Europe, and he's got a real different style. Different style. Most piano players don't like his style.
Oh, really?
No, because he's kind of
All over the place, huh?
yeah, he's kind of over the place. Yeah. Yeah, which sometimes makes you angry when you're taking a ride.
Sure.
Yeah.
He gets in the way.
All you want is chords.
Yep, and his fingers are all over the place.
Oh yeah, but he's a good guy.
Uh-huh.
He's a good guy, and he's older too.
Sure.
Where is he? He worked in a piano store in Berlin. Manfred Schunauer is his name, and his job was to sell pianos when he was working there.
Right.
But he spent so much time playing them that the boss fired him.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what the piano salespeople are supposed to do. Play the piano, make it sound amazing, so everyone wants to buy one.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's good. He's not bad. He's a good player. Yeah. He works chords really differently. Oh golly,
Really?
it's It's pretty good.
It's nice to hear new players though, because then it opens up the way you listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think if somebody plays with a lot of color in their chords, then you think to yourself, oh, I would have never thought of putting those notes in there.
Well, at this jazz festival I played up in Wisconsin, I'd broken off my 2 front teeth on top,
Ah,
halfway,
wow.
trying to open up a pistachio nut.
Really? Wow.
Broke them off. But it didn't really affect my playing that much, although it was sharp, real sharp.
Uh-huh.
Then one day I played a 4-piece jazz group in Wisconsin, and the piano and the bass player was the local dentist in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed it to him. He said, "You don't mind driving 100 miles?" He said, "I can fix that in about 40 minutes."
Really? Wow.
Sure enough, he did.
Wow,
I don't want to
nice.
show you my teeth, no. But he fixed my bottom, he fixed my teeth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah, it really does, yeah.
I can only imagine you need those ones.
Yeah. So anyway, I asked him what I own. He says, it's on the house. So,
That's a good deal.
yeah.
It pays to know dentists.
Yeah, it sure does. Dentists are expensive.
I know.
Yeah.
I've only been to the dentist twice in my life. So it was once when I was, I think in 7th grade, and they pulled 8 of my teeth.
Uh-huh.
And then a few years ago, my dad and I were down in Mexico for maybe a week or so,
Mhm.
and we were out in the middle of nowhere where there was nothing, and I thought that I had done something to my tooth and was like maybe had a problem.
Mhm.
So when I came back, I went to the best dentist I could find, and they did x-rays and checked my teeth over, and then the dentist finally said, "Now, tell me the truth. When was the last time you were at the dentist?" And I said, "I think it was when I was 14. And she said, "That can't be true." And I said, "Well, it is true. I remember it. Because they pulled all these teeth and I never went back."
Uh-huh.
And she says, "Well, there's nothing we can do for you." She says, "You have perfect teeth. They're perfectly clean. There's nothing to scrape or clean."
And you'd never had your teeth cleaned?
I've never had them cleaned. Yeah. And so then she said, "Well, we have, I like a part of the University of Minnesota program, dental program. Could I use all of your x-rays and your information and your testimony and ask you questions so we can use it in our classes?" And I was like, "Well, sure." So she said, "Well, what's the secret, what did you do that's different?" I said, "Well, I brush my teeth every day." I said, "I'm a trumpet player, so I've always been concerned that I wouldn't want to have dental problems because I've known so many people that had." And I said, "I always put colloidal silver in my toothpaste and in all my products, really, just a few drops of colloidal silver, and then I brush with that."
Mhm.
And she said, "Well, what is colloidal silver?" And I explained the history of it because I knew about this stuff. It's basically silver, and I used to make it myself just with, I made a small device that would just pull silver off of a silver coin,
Mhm.
and it would just put it into some water, and then I would drink it. And I think she said, "Well, I must have really good genetics because my roots go all the way to the bottom of my chin." She showed me the x-rays, and I didn't know it, but my teeth are about that long.
Wow.
When you
they go
include the
all
root,
around.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they go all the way down. So, but, I mean, you still have your teeth,
Wow.
so you must have done something right.
It's funny that, I would never say this to anybody, but I haven't been to the dentist, I think 8 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I never had my teeth cleaned
Mm-hmm.
in 8 years. Normally that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
But a month ago, when I had my 2 teeth repaired by this dentist, he said, "Everything looks good."
Mm-hmm.
Now, I brush my teeth a lot,
Right.
and every time before I play, I always brush my teeth or wash out my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
so I get all the food particles out
Of
of there.
course, yeah.
I do that all the time. I brush my teeth a minimum of twice a day.
Sure.
Now, whether that helps or not, now I brush hard.
Uh-huh.
I don't buy those soft brushes.
Sure.
I buy some where I can feel it,
Right.
so I can hurt myself. And I can hit those gums all I want, and there's no blood.
So, and then I remember the dentist asked me, "Well, what do you eat or drink?" And I don't eat candy, and I don't drink any soda or pop, anything like that, and I don't really drink alcohol hardly ever. So, how about you? Is there anything like in your habits that you think maybe contribute?
I'm not a sweet person,
Sure.
but I do drink alcohol.
Sure. But how about soda and pop? Because I think, you know, the carbonation maybe has something to do with it.
Occasionally.
Sure.
I think it's the booze that keeps my teeth clean.
It could be.
Because I don't know. I don't have any problem. And let's go through it about my front. Because without teeth, you know, goodness gracious, you know, where you at, the trumpet player.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how people play with plates.
I know.
I don't know what they do.
I know some lead players that lose their front teeth, usually in a fight. And they have them replaced, and it's never the same again. You know?
No.
Because they can't use the type of pressure, and they don't have the feeling. So, but I do know a couple that have, over the years, had it adjusted again and again, and kind of got it back.
Yeah, if you notice close, I have a little scar tissue right over here.
I do see that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, I don't know how I got that, but you know, I find when I position my mouthpiece right below that scar tissue, that it's strong.
Oh, yeah.
It's strong. In fact, when it came back stronger. You know. But I don't know, this fellow's dead. Maybe you knew him, Paul Hack?
No, I
You
didn't know.
didn't know him? He was a professor of music at the University of Minnesota, and he died now. But he was telling me of all the muscles that make up your lip, there are quite a few of them.
Oh, yeah.
There's quite a few of them. I don't know them, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, yeah, there are quite a few muscles. When I was in college, I was preparing for my junior recital, and to make a long story short, on New Year's Eve, I got in a fight with some kids, and it's not a fight I started, because I wasn't the type of person that would start a fight, but they were hockey players, and there were 4 of them, and basically they kicked my face several times, and they kicked in my teeth, so they gouged on the inside of my lips, both the top and the bottom. And I have like really big scars on the inside of the whole top of my lip. And it's amazing what your body can recover from and heal, and you know, to still be able to play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, that scar that you have up there, I mean, we forget these things, or maybe it just happened from trumpet playing, who knows?
I don't know how it happened. I have no idea.
But you can overcome those things, you know, it's...
Yeah. Maybe my early dating, a woman bit my lip.
No, that's possible.
Yeah.
Let me grab Oscar here. He apparently All right, come on, puppy. So, well, it's totally up to you, but if you wanted to pick up a horn and play anything for us, you're welcome to, and if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine.
That's okay. That's okay.
So yeah, we'll plan on the
On spring.
on the spring.
Yeah,
We'll do a set at Jazz Central.
Yeah.
I'll give you some information where that is. This Friday, we have 3 trumpet players that are playing at Jazz Central. They're all clients of ours. So if you're around, you might want to stop in. But
This Friday?
yeah, this Friday. They're going to play 3 different mini sets, and then they'll all play a couple tunes together at the end.
How big is your group?
Well, it's going to be. It's just going to be piano, bass, and drums as a house band. And at Jazz Central, they have the basic house band there every week. And then the trumpet players, are each going to play a couple tunes. So Todd Tangi is one of them. He's a great composer and arranger here in the Twin Cities. And then Jeff Sen, the one that you just saw, he's going to play as well. And then Mark Bobnick. Yeah, so the 3 of them are going to play, and it might be a good opportunity, of course, to hear people and just, see some people you probably already know.
They just shoot for the hip?
Yeah, I think they're coming up with their own stuff, and they'll play. I mean, it's. I think Todd actually may be bringing his own band and some arrangements for his part.
You should have a chart for the piano player?
Well, I think he will have a chart for the piano player, but the rhythm section knows most tunes.
They know
so,
all.
yeah, they can. If you call it a tune, they usually play. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you want to come stop in, check it.
Yeah. Before we did this thing, I played that song called "Catch Me."
Oh, how's that go?
Catch Me?
Yeah.
If I can play it. I'll give him a little piece here. If I can hit it.
Nice. Wow, that was very, very nice. Yeah, I love the introduction.
I just beat that up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't play it the same every time. Yeah. But anyway, that's Catch Me.
Wow, that sounds great.
So
And you make that horn sound beautiful.
in fact, I gotta tell you that this tenor man who wants to play in the group, I said we're gonna open up with that song. And I sent him. I wrote out the part, you know. And then he wrote back. He says, he called back. He said, I don't know. He said, that looks a little hard. But you know, anyway, I'll play that intro by itself. No other.
Right. Just you.
And then Catch Me. There's another one called Jump for Me. This a lot of stuff is written by like Basie and by Ellington and things like that.
Are your favorite tunes the ballads or the up tempo?
Well, they're both. They're both. I'm introducing more little jazzy things like this now, getting away from the proverbial sentimental journey and all that. But unfortunately, that's what the people want to hear.
Of course they do.
Because that's what they're familiar with. But every once in a while, you got to throw in something like I just played to make them realize that you can do more than sentimental journey.
Right. Well, and you need to stay interested. One of the reasons I stopped playing big bands was because I really got tired of the top 100 tunes. You know, you can only do those so long before. I mean, maybe you have more endurance than I do, but if I have to play String of Pearls one more time. What was it? Oh yeah, I played with a band that played In the Mood and String of Pearls together. Oh yeah, put them together.
Put them together, yeah. But what I don't like about a big band, because I'm not a disciplined person, and you have to be disciplined.
Right.
You know, if you're gonna. I already was told by somebody in the big band down in Florida that you can't do what you want, Harry. Just you're playing in a section and you gotta.
Right. Well, I totally agree with you. In orchestral music, I'm perfectly fine playing by the rules. But when it comes to big band, usually I'll play the lead part. And the lead part is not my favorite. I'd rather play the solo part. But it's because people think I could play higher that they give me the lead. And I don't like to be right on the rhythm all the time. I like to embellish it. So as a lead player, I sometimes embellish things too much and I get comments too. So, you know, nobody asks me not to play, but the truth is I'd just rather not play by the rules. That's why smaller groups I think are a lot more fun. Or even complete solo. You know?
I want to do Take 5 down there, but I send the guys the music, but it's 5/4 time, and
that's a great tune.
And the drummer and the piano, the drummer has to be real religious what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, you can't follow me.
Right.
So that's the trouble. You know, you have to have good drummers, good keyboard men, and bass, of course. You know, the rest of it, you know, you can do this whole thing with one instrument. Really. You don't have to have all this other stuff, you know. But Take 5 is nice. I like that. And then I wrote an intro. I didn't really write it. I wrote, it's called, what is it called again? It's a church song of the Lord's goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just put it right over there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, singing of the Lord's goodness. Yeah, I cheated. In 5/4
It fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of good, you know. And every once in a while, you know, it depends on who you're playing for too. Like when I play on Sandoval, the band on Sandoval, the crowd is more discerning.
Right.
I shouldn't say this, but you know, they're been around a little bit more, a little more educated. And then when you play in Fort Myers for the
they don't know the difference.
for the rural folk,
Right.
then they want to hear just the regular stuff, you know.
Right. Well, some of my favorite things to play are in odd meters. Like even like 7/4 or 7/8.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot more interesting. Or if you go back and forth between different meters. And I played a lot of orchestra music, so a lot of my favorites were the stuff that had odd meters in it.
And did you take rides in those songs too, or you had to play pretty much written?
Oh no, in orchestra almost always you have to play with.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But there have been like more recent composers that write things where you can play whatever you want. The only problem is I didn't get to play in a great orchestra. I didn't get to play those tunes. Maybe someday.
Like take 5, with the flugelhorn, you can do a nice improv on that, and you can just fool around
Oh yeah.
on the drums.
Actually, I put that tune on every once in a while, just play in the shop.
You do it?
Because there's a version of it that's I'm trying to remember who did it, but I have one version that's about 15 minutes long, and then you can just play and play and play because they just keep vamping again and again, And so that's a great tune.
Did you hear this group that did the Echoes of Ellington?
I don't know.
Well, a lot of those guys are dead, but I got a recording of them. The Echoes of Ellington, songs I've never heard of before.
Sure.
And the trumpet player is dead. The trombone player is dead. That's the trouble. Guys die.
Well, it happens. I'm going to turn this heater off real quick, and then I'll ask you just one more question. That thing gets to be so noisy. Let's see if it jumps off.
So you're still about 50, 60 horns behind?
Yeah, I think right now I just counted. I had 64 orders.
64.
Yeah. So
You get them on the email or
almost all of our orders are through word of mouth.
through word of mouth, and then they
So-
call you or?
Yeah, they call, they email. Customers are from all over the world. So I think the last one I built goes to Tokyo, and then one of the next ones goes to Italy. But about a third of our orders go out of the country. So I don't always talk to those customers on the phone because they don't always speak English, and I'm terrible at other languages. So
Well, when are you out there building? Because whenever I come here, you're in the office.
yeah, I'm doing other things. I usually build a trumpet before anyone gets here in the morning. So I get all the parts ready during the day, and then early in the morning, come here,
Okay.
let's walk around and make noise. So early in the morning, I usually, maybe from 5:30 or 6 in the morning until about 10, I usually finish
You finish.
putting the horn together.
Yeah. And
So
you have
that's kind of
somebody.
my routine.
And you have somebody that does all the shipping for you.
Yeah, I have Christine does all the shipping.
All the shipping.
And she does a lot of the customer service. Jen and Christine and I all handle customer service.
Yeah.
And then James does all the cleanup.
Now,
So it's the 4 of us.
on customer service, what could go wrong?
Oh, everything can go wrong. Unfortunately, because our horns are so different than a standard trumpet, then when somebody, receives their horn, they may not understand something about it, like how to use the water key, how to fit a mouthpiece. They see that my mouthpiece fits flush, and they want theirs to fit flush, with no gap. Things like that.
I see.
Sometimes the top caps and bottom caps, they're designed and machined to be tighter than normal. So they can be tighter to put on and off, and sometimes people have problems with those little things. There rarely is anything actually wrong with the horn, but it's more about learning about the new instrument and understanding just how it's different. The biggest problem that we've ever encountered is perception. When people play a horn, normally when you play a trumpet, the sound comes out here. But on our trumpets, as you know, the sound comes more out the bell than normal. So if you play real soft, when you play soft, it's easy to hear, and in this room, it's easy to hear. Some people have the tendency to play loud all the time, and when they do, the sound comes out way out there, and they, especially in a big room, they don't hear as much as they would hope. So acclimating to the projection is a lot of times a challenge.
Oh, I see.
Was that difficult for you when you started playing?
Well, so much depends upon the room too,
Oh yeah,
if you're playing it, you know.
right.
If you're playing on a stage and there's 15 feet of carpet in front of you before the dance floor,
Right,
bad.
right.
But if you got all hard floor, beautiful.
Right.
Ceilings that have like beams like that, squares, you know, bad.
Yeah, sound reflects all different ways.
Goes all over.
Sounds like a helicopter sometimes.
Yeah, I played in those, or where there's glass, a lot of glass walls. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's like a hard sound.
Yeah, or
Hard and bright.
fully draped.
Oh yeah. Well, the worst situation I have ever played in, and unfortunately I've played this a lot, is a pit for an orchestra,
Oh.
like for a musical. So many of the pits, sometimes they're above the stage and off to the side, and sometimes they're under the stage, but they always want to carpet everything, like even the walls and the ceiling, and it's a real low ceiling, and then you get two complaints. The first complaint is you're too loud, and that comes from the people right in front of you. The other complaint is the audience can't hear you. But then my complaint is I can't hear me either, because there's so much dampening happening. You know, it's funny that we have instruments that are designed hopefully by people who understand acoustics, and then musicians pretty much understand acoustics because they use their ears all day long. And then you get into situations where someone makes a decision to create a room that just doesn't work with acoustics. We shouldn't have to fight against these things.
No, that's right. Of course, playing outside, that's something else.
Oh yeah. Do you, you know, since you play funerals and you know, I'm sure taps and all those things, do you find that playing in the morning is easier than playing in the afternoon? Because of the acoustics of outside? Like if they were both outside?
No, not really.
Because there's some physics to that. In a cool, crisp morning, or if it's warm and humid, then the acoustics change. So I'm just curious if, since you play so much of that, if you notice.
Yeah. Of course, most of the funerals are like, you know, before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Sure.
Now it's getting cold outside.
Yeah.
That's always a problem with the monkeys.
Oh yeah, it is. Definitely.
But I have a rice bag that I put into the microwave,
Warm it up.
warm up, and then I place it on the horn. And so when it comes time to start playing, the horn is nice and toast.
Yeah, that's smart.
It looks pretty good, yeah.
They should make trumpet cases that have lining in them that can be put in the microwave or plugged in.
Yeah, right, yeah. Not to use a plastic mouthpiece, you know, some people do. Of course now, with the military, they can't find enough trumpet players, and so now they have this bugle with a chip in it that plays the taps.
Yeah, and Bugles Across America is trying to stop that.
Well, I wish they would.
Yeah, I do too, because they don't do anything.
I hate it.
Yeah, they just
I
push
really
play.
do. Like one guy said that, he said, I do what you do. I said, oh, yeah, he said, I got one of those electronic bugles. And I said, no, you don't do what I do. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. So,
I played a funeral 2 weeks ago, and there was a reenactment of the Revolutionary War at Lakewood Cemetery out there by Lake Calhoun. And I heard I saw the guy have a bugle. He was about a half a block away, and we did one half a block further away. And then I heard him play taps, and it was pretty decent. And so after the funeral, I went over to him. I said, "Where's the bugle guy?" And I said, "Was that a tape or was that you?" He said, "I'm sorry." He said, "It was tape." I said, "I apologize."
he's already had too many complaints.
Yeah.
But you know, I have to say it's better to have the recorded one than none at all. Unfortunately, we have to resort to that because there's so few buglers today.
Yeah.
So I see that side of it.
Oh yeah, I see that too. Yeah. It's just that the problem wasn't researched properly. If they would give a very nominal amount of money, they could have found a lot of college trumpet players that would volunteer to play taps if they had a little income.
I totally agree. I was the first gig I ever had was playing bugle for military funerals in Billings, Montana. And I have set up my students over the years with similar, similar gigs, so they could get out there and play even if it's taps. And taps, of course, I think should be played by somebody who really understands what it means. But to have a student there and to be in that situation, it also like brings them up to the level of playing the trumpet is a lot more serious and has a lot more meaning than maybe you thought in 5th or 6th grade.
And taps should be played with meaning. In other words, you got to get crescendo, decrescendo. You got to. It can't all be the same. And especially toward the end, you should really drift off. Really pull it out as long as you can. Drift off into nothing.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be played fast.
No.
I've heard it fast a few times. And
You got to hit the notes and don't slide down. At least it sounds better to me that way. Well, this was interesting talking to you about all these things.
yeah, well, it was good to have you. I guess before we turn the recorders off and finish up today, do you have any advice or words of wisdom for younger players and maybe even older players that are listening today? That I'm sure you have something that you could share with them.
Well, you're going to get older, and as you get older, you got to keep playing. You got to keep playing, and it's like riding a bike. It'll come back, but you got to keep playing. You can't put it away. Of course, everybody doesn't have the opportunity to keep playing. That's the thing too.
Right.
But I expect 5 more years.
Yeah.
When I'm 90, I might think seriously about slowing down a bit.
Well, I hope you never do.
Well, there's some guys. The thing is, there's some people down in Florida that are 92, 93, but their age shows in their department on the bandstand. They might fool around when somebody else is playing.
Right.
You think because you're older, you have a right to do things.
Right.
If you say anything you want to do anything you want to do, I don't believe in that at all. You got to know your place.
Right,
You
of
got to
course.
know your place.
Well, to encourage you a little bit on on how long you can play, I have met a couple really fantastic cornet and trumpet players who are 20 years older than you. So, believe it or not, there is a guy down in New Orleans who I just heard play on his birthday, and I've heard him play on his birthday a few different times now, and you can look him up, but I think he was 102 or 103 this year, and he still plays and he still sounds good.
Oh,
So you might have 20 years. You don't know.
Was your range okay yet?
Well, his range was not incredible, but he could still play above the staff. And,
You still could play above the staff.
yeah, and he could still remember tunes, so there's hope for sure. And, of course, I think most people watching just hope that they can play half as good as you when they're half your age.